We use the geospatial information to primarily build the geospatial system for our customer, right from the collection of the geospatial data, enriching it with other data sets, and to make sense out of it. So in this broad spectrum, Scient adds value in terms of not just creation of the data, but in terms of enriching it by cleaning it up and adding external data and creating meaningful sense out of this data. Consumers primarily get answers for their day-to-day question of what and where. So primarily the what question has been addressed by business data sets already. The corporate data sets try to answer that, but it is often when you combine it with where, the more meaning would come up. So most of the situations, customers, when we don't know where it is, they will not able to address the problem fully. So it is that where question now combined with spatial analytics of how and why is actually being addressed with the spatial information alone. So it's not just about where, it's about how and why are being addressed with spatial information. It's about the information and the insight. Just like the information and the insight is powering the businesses to identify new solutions, identify untapped efficiencies in the workflows, the geospatial information and the follow-on spatial analytics is driving the economy to identify further productivity improvements, cutting down costs. So elsewhere, for example, if you see in financial services, people are able to identify new customers and new business streams in terms of innovative solutions, let's say usage-driven insurance, all right. So that's possible when companies know when a customer is using the asset, how many times, how far, how good, how bad, right? So the location information is actually adding to the other set of business information to come up with innovative ideas for new revenue models. So it is not specific to any specific industry. Overall, the underlying question of the where element and associated how and why element is actually powering this transformation. Geospatial big data is 80% of the corporate data is spatially relevant. Now we have been using this data without the spatial context all along, but now that we have enough technology to bring the spatial component and tightly integrate with the corporate data set, now we can make spatial sense out of it. You can see that the broader insight is being generated with the spatial element. Potential for big data is really good in financial services, retail and consumer, social media. Now in all these industries, location element is making a big change. Like we see in Facebook, it started as a social media company, but now location aspect is actually driving most of its advertising business, right? Similarly for Google, right? So even for Amazon. So some companies use location data inherently in the background. Some companies like Facebook use upfront, and then it is clearly visible how location is driving their business models. So I think the location intelligence is more or less relevant for all the industries, and wherever big data is there, especially in terms of consumer generated data, the location data is tightly integrated there in order to drive mostly marketing benefits. Advertising and marketing is one big area where you get benefits of spatial analytics. Yes, I definitely do see that aspect. Right now, we are actually connecting, not even connecting the dots, we are actually establishing the dots. We are actually trying to make sense out of the physical infrastructure, physical world in digital way, bits and pieces. But these sensors and the original data sets, the data that we generated in the corporate databases, and intelligent applications that connect some of these data sets are ultimately giving rise to one Internet of Things. It need not be a sensor getting one data and projecting to a visualization. It's about connecting the entire intelligent things and then making location sense out of it. Now, I see that Internet of Things is finally encompassing the entire globe to make spatially relevant.